First Contact Fallout. The Galactic Assembly's Classification Committee sat in their crystalline chamber, bathed in the light of 3 alien suns. High Administrator Vextil, a towering figure with iridescent scales, studied the holographic display of Earth with 6 eyes that had seen the rise and fall of countless civilizations. The humans believe they're being considered for full membership status. He chittered to his fellow committee members. They have no idea we've been watching them since they split the atom. The assembled aliens, representing species that had mastered spacetime itself, watched footage of human civilization, cities powered by fossil fuels, aircraft that still relied on primitive lift surfaces, weapons that used chemical propellants. Their technological progress is concerning, noted Zarka, the committee's strategic analyst. Her translucent form shifted colors as she spoke. They advanced from first flight to lunar landing in merely 65 planetary rotations. No other species has shown such rapid development. Precisely why they must be contained, Vextil responded. Their capacity for warfare is particularly troubling. They've turned every scientific breakthrough into a weapon. Even their medical advances stem from battlefield necessity. The committee members muttered in agreement. They had seen the footage of human conflicts, the ingenious brutality, the relentless drive to overcome limitations, the ability to unite against common threats. The assessment is clear, Vextil announced. Earth represents a Class 3 containment risk. All advanced technology transfers are to be restricted. Their development must be carefully managed. In her office at the United Earth Embassy, Ambassador Sarah Chen received the classification notice with carefully controlled fury. 20 years of diplomatic work, building relationships, demonstrating humanity's potential, all undermined by a secret assessment they'd never known was happening. The restrictions were comprehensive. No quantum computing technology, no antimatter research, no access to faster-than-light travel. Earth was effectively being locked in its solar system, relegated to trading raw materials and basic manufactured goods. They think they're being subtle, she told her AI assistant, ARIA, after ensuring their quantum-encrypted privacy field was active. Containing the dangerous humans before we become a threat. They've significantly underestimated Earth's current capabilities, ARIA responded, its holographic form flickering with calculated concern. Should I inform Project Prometheus? Sarah smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Yes. Tell them to accelerate the timeline. If the Assembly wants to treat us like a primitive species, we'll show them exactly how primitive we can be. Deep beneath the Olympus Mons research facility on Mars, Dr. James Rodriguez was already reviewing the classification notice. His team of quantum physicists had been preparing for this possibility for years. They think they're restricting our access to advanced technology. He addressed his international team. But they've just given us exactly what we needed. Time to work without their interference, and motivation to unite our efforts. The massive chamber around them hummed with power from technologies the Assembly believed humanity was centuries from developing. Quantum cores powering artificial gravity, dark matter sensors monitoring the galaxy, and at the center, the project that would change everything, the Prometheus engine. How long until we're ready? James asked his lead engineer. 6 months to complete the prototype, another 3 for testing. We're combining technologies in ways they've never imagined. They think linear, one breakthrough leading to another. Humans think laterally, combining seemingly unrelated discoveries into something new. James nodded, watching the engine's core pulse with possibilities. The Assembly had made a crucial mistake. They had judged humanity by their technological benchmarks, never understanding that Earth's greatest strength wasn't in its individual advances, but in its ability to innovate through combination and adaptation. They want to contain us, he said quietly. Instead, they've just removed all restraint. No more holding back to maintain diplomatic relations. No more sharing our advances. Now we build everything we've dreamed of. The engine's pulse quickened, as if responding to humanity's awakening ambition. In orbit, satellites that appeared primitive to assembly scans concealed quantum arrays of unprecedented sophistication. In underground bases, ships were being constructed that would redefine space warfare. And in labs across Earth, scientists freed from the pretense of technological limitations were creating wonders that would shock the galaxy. The assembly thought they were caging a primitive species. They were about to discover they had merely removed humanity's self-imposed restraints. War wasn't coming. Something far more devastating was approaching. The moment when humanity revealed that every limitation, every restriction, every barrier had simply been an inspiration to innovate in ways the galaxy had never imagined. The containment of Earth had begun, and with it, the assembly had sealed their own fate. The Silent Forge. Admiral Helena Reyes stood at the viewport of Ganymede Station, watching Jupiter's swirling storms in the distance. To any assembly scan, the station appeared to be a primitive mining outpost. In reality, it was humanity's most advanced shipyard. "Show me Project Aurora's status," she commanded. The air shimmered as holographic displays materialized, showing dozens of ships under construction in the quantum-shielded bays beneath Ganymede's surface. Each vessel represented a complete rejection of conventional assembly shipbuilding philosophy. "The Nightingale class is exceeding expectations," reported Commander Weichen, his augmented eyes scanning through streams of data. "By combining our quantum mechanics with biological computing, we've created ships that don't just avoid detection, they actively redirect attention elsewhere." Helena smiled. The assembly's arrogance had given humanity an unexpected advantage. They were so convinced of their technological superiority that their scans only looked for known energy signatures and construction methods. And the Prometheus integration. We gestured, bringing up schematics of a sleek vessel unlike anything in the galaxy. The SS Hyperion will be our prototype. Dr. Rodriguez's team has succeeded in miniaturizing the Prometheus engine. It doesn't just give us faster-than-light capability. It lets us manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. Deep within the Hyperion's quantum-shielded core, the Prometheus engine pulsed with possibility. It was humanity's greatest achievement, not because it copied assembly technology, but because it approached space-time manipulation from an entirely new direction. In Australia's outback, beneath the red Earth, Dr. Maya Patel led another branch of humanity's silent preparation. The Global Defense Initiative's Cyber Warfare Division had spent years infiltrating assembly networks, hiding within systems the aliens believed were far too advanced for humans to comprehend. They never considered that digital security would evolve differently on Earth, Maya explained to the UN Security Council's quantum encrypted session. Their networks are built on perfect quantum encryption, but they never developed our expertise in social engineering and systematic probing for weaknesses. The holographic display showed the extent of human infiltration. Backdoors into assembly transportation networks, quiet access to their communication systems, and most crucially, a complete map of their defense grid. The assembly's greatest weakness, Maya continued, is their belief that technological superiority equals absolute security. They haven't had to defend against a truly determined opponent in millennia. At the Olympus Mons facility, Dr. Rodriguez's team was completing the final phase of Project Prometheus. The massive chamber had become a forge where humanity's multiple scientific disciplines merged into something unprecedented. The assembly thinks in terms of linear technological progress, he explained to Admiral Reyes during her inspection. Their ships use quantum drives because they're more advanced than conventional engines. Their weapons use antimatter because it's more powerful than nuclear fusion. He gestured to the Prometheus engine's core, where energies that shouldn't coexist pulsed in careful harmony. We combined everything: quantum mechanics, biological computing, plasma physics, even principles from Earth's various philosophical traditions about the nature of reality. The result isn't just more advanced than assembly technology. It's fundamentally different. The assembly's containment strategy had assumed humanity would follow the same technological path as other species, just at a dangerous pace. Instead, isolation had forced humanity to forge its own path, creating technologies that the assembly sensors couldn't even recognize as technology. In orbit around Neptune, the first practical test of this new path was about to begin. The SS Hyperion, classified as a primitive long-range survey vessel in assembly records, prepared to demonstrate humanity's response to containment. Captain Sarah Martinez felt a deep pride as her crew took their stations. The Hyperion represented not just human engineering, but human creativity and determination. Every system, from its biological quantum computers to its reality warping drive, was built on the principle that had defined human progress: the refusal to accept limitations. "All stations report ready," her XO announced. Sarah smiled. The assembly thought they were watching everything humanity did. They were about to discover just how blind their superiority had made them. "Begin Operation Starkler," she ordered. The Prometheus engine pulsed once, and the Hyperion didn't just disappear from assembly sensors. It disappeared from reality itself, stepping sideways into a domain of space-time that assembly science had never imagined existed. In her office at the United Earth Embassy, Ambassador Chen received the test confirmation and allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The assembly had tried to cage humanity. Instead, they had forced humanity to achieve things their linear thinking had never conceived possible. The silent forge of human innovation was about to show the galaxy that true advancement didn't come from following established paths. It came from daring to forge new ones. Operation Checkmate. High Admiral Klovax of the Assembly Defense Fleet watched with smug satisfaction as his armada of 500 warships dropped out of quantum space near Saturn's rings. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of assembly engineering, bristling with weapons that could reduce planets to ash. The fleet's mere presence should be enough to ensure Earth's continued compliance with containment protocols. "Send the message," he commanded, his crystalline exoskeleton glinting under the bridge lights. "Inform Earth that their mandatory technology inspection will begin in 6 standard hours. Any resistance will be met with appropriate force." On Earth, in the depths of No Rady's quantum-shielded command center, General Sarah Mitchell allowed herself a thin smile as the Assembly's message arrived. "Right on schedule. They're even more predictable than we anticipated." She turned to the assembled command staff, representatives from every nation on Earth. "Initialize Operation Checkmate. Let's show the galaxy what happens when you try to cage humanity." Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum networks hummed to life. In the void between worlds, cloaked satellites and stations began powering up systems that defied assembly understanding. On Mars, the Prometheus engine's core pulse quickened as Dr. Rodriguez's team made final adjustments. "Hyperion Fleet, you are cleared to execute," Mitchell ordered. In the darkness beyond Saturn, 12 ships that didn't officially exist disengaged their reality-bending cloaks. Captain Martinez, aboard the lead vessel, felt a fierce pride as her squadron moved into position. Each ship carried technologies that represented humanity's greatest achievement, not copying assembly science, but transcending it entirely. "Deploy the quantum mesh," she ordered. From each ship, microscopic probes spread out, invisible to assembly sensors. They formed a vast web of interconnected quantum points, surrounding Klovax's fleet in a sphere of possibility. On the assembly flagship, the first warning came too late. "High Admiral," a sensor operator called out, mandibles clicking in confusion. "We're detecting some kind of quantum disturbance, but it doesn't match any known." The lights went out, not just on Klovax's ship, but across his entire fleet. Quantum drives, weapon systems, life support, everything more advanced than basic chemical rockets simply stopped working. 500 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy hung powerless in space. "Report," Klovax demanded, his crystalline form vibrating with rage. "What's happening?" "Unknown, sir," his science officer responded. "Our quantum systems aren't damaged. They just won't work. It's as if the fundamental laws of physics are being locally rewritten." A hologram materialized on the bridge, a human woman in a military uniform. General Mitchell's image stood calmly, hands clasped behind her back. "High Admiral Kovacs," she said, "Earth accepts your inspection request. In fact, we insist on it. You're about to get a very thorough look at humanity's current technological capabilities." Around his helpless fleet, space itself seemed to ripple. Ships began appearing. Human vessels unlike anything in assembly records. They moved in ways that should be impossible, their hulls seeming to exist in multiple dimensions at once. "What you're experiencing," Mitchell continued, "is a localized alteration of quantum probability fields. Your technology isn't broken. It's operating in a bubble of space-time, where the physical laws that enable it simply work differently." A crude explanation, but given the Assembly's evident opinion of human intelligence, perhaps appropriate. The SS Hyperion decloaked directly in front of Kovacs's flagship, its Prometheus engine casting impossible shadows in quantum space. Behind it, more ships appeared, each demonstrating capabilities that assembly science had deemed theoretically impossible. "Your containment protocols assumed humanity would develop along predictable lines," Mitchell explained. "You expected us to climb the same technological ladder as every other species. Instead, you forced us to build our own ladder, one that goes in directions your science never imagined." Dr. Rodriguez's voice joined the transmission. "Your quantum drives manipulate space-time through brute force. Ours surf the probability waves between realities. Your weapons use antimatter annihilation. Ours reshape local physical constants to achieve the same effect with zero collateral damage. You built upward. We built sideways." Kovacs's rage turned to fear as he realized the true scope of what he was witnessing. "This is impossible. You're a primitive species. You still use chemical rockets. Your computers are exactly what we wanted you to see," Mitchell interrupted. "Every piece of technology you've observed on Earth for the past decade has been carefully crafted theater. While you were watching our chemical rockets, we were walking between dimensions. While you monitored our primitive computer networks, we were seeding quantum infiltrators throughout your systems." The Hyperion's drive pulsed, and for a moment, Kovacs's sensors caught a glimpse of what humanity had actually achieved. His crystalline form nearly shattered from the shock. "The Assembly has two choices," Mitchell declared. "Option 1. Immediately revoke all containment protocols, acknowledge Earth as a full member of the galactic community, and begin honest technological exchange. Option 2. Discover exactly how many other surprises humanity has developed during our containment." She smiled, but there was steel beneath it. "You have 6 standard hours to decide. Exactly the time frame you gave us. We look forward to your response." The hologram vanished, leaving Kovacs floating in his powerless flagship, watching human ships perform maneuvers that his best scientists would have sworn were impossible. Operation Checkmate wasn't just a demonstration of power. It was proof that trying to contain humanity's advancement had been worse than futile. It had inspired humanity to develop in ways the Assembly had never imagined possible. And this, they all knew, was just the beginning. Diplomatic shockwave. The Assembly's Grand Chamber had never been so chaotic. Representatives from 1,000 worlds shouted, argued, and demanded explanations. The massive quantum displays showed the same footage on repeat, Assembly warships hanging powerless in space, while human vessels performed maneuvers that defied known physics. High Counselor's Extra, her crystalline form shifting colors with agitation, struggled to maintain order. "The Security Council has reviewed the incident." "Incident?" The representative from Proxima interrupted, their bioluminescent patterns flashing with incredulity. "A primitive species just neutralized our most powerful fleet without firing a shot." "This isn't an incident. It's a fundamental shift in galactic power." Ambassador Sarah Chen watched from Earth's newly upgraded booth, no longer relegated to the observer section. The quantum-encrypted feed to Earth's leadership showed similar scenes playing out across the galaxy. Smaller civilizations, long chafing under assembly restrictions, were beginning to see possibilities they'd never dared consider before. The humans didn't just demonstrate technological superiority. The Centaurian delegate observed, their multifaceted eyes gleaming. They showed us that the Assembly's entire approach to scientific advancement is fundamentally flawed. Dr. Rodriguez's hologram appeared beside Chen, transmitted through Earth's new quantum network that the Assembly still couldn't detect. They're starting to understand. The Assembly's linear technological progression isn't the only path forward. In the diplomatic district outside the chamber, representatives from dozens of developing worlds were already requesting private meetings with Earth's delegation, not just about technology, but about something more precious: hope. On Earth, the United Nations Security Council was holding an emergency session. General Mitchell's hologram stood at the center, delivering her report. The Assembly's response is splitting along predictable lines, she explained. The major powers are calling for immediate sanctions and military action. The smaller nations, particularly those under similar restrictions, are advocating for diplomatic engagement. President Lakshmi Patil of the United Earth Government leaned forward. And the Prometheus network? Fully operational, Mitchell confirmed. We can detect any Assembly fleet movement anywhere in the galaxy. Dr. Patel's Cyber Warfare Division has complete access to their command and control systems. They can't make a move we won't see coming. But humanity's reveal had triggered more than just military and political reactions. On worlds across the galaxy, scientists were poring over the limited data from the Saturn incident, trying to understand how humans had achieved the impossible. In a secret facility on Mars, Dr. Rodriguez met with representatives from some of these worlds, species that, like humanity, had been deemed too primitive for advanced technology. The Assembly's mistake, he explained to the gathered aliens, was assuming that technological progress must follow a single path. Humanity proved there are infinite paths forward, if you're willing to think differently. He gestured to the Prometheus engine's core, where energies that shouldn't coexist pulsed in harmony. This isn't just human technology. It's a proof of concept. Every species brings unique perspectives, different ways of understanding reality. Together, we can forge paths the Assembly never imagined. The implications were spreading faster than anyone had anticipated. On dozens of worlds, civilizations that had accepted Assembly restrictions for centuries were beginning to question everything they'd been told about technological development. Back in the Grand Chamber, High Counselor Zextra was losing control of the situation. The Proximan representative had just dropped another bombshell. We move to immediately revoke all technological restrictions on developing worlds, they announced. The humans have proven that the Assembly's classification system is not just flawed. It's actively harmful to galactic progress. Support for the motion came from unexpected quarters. Even some of the Assembly's traditional allies were beginning to distance themselves from the containment protocols. Ambassador Chen stood to address the chamber. The silence that fell was heavy with anticipation. Earth does not seek to replace the Assembly's leadership, she declared. We seek to transform it. For too long, the galaxy has been divided between advanced and primitive species. Earth proposes a new model, collaborative development, where each civilization's unique approach to understanding the universe is valued and supported. She gestured, and holographic displays showed the Prometheus engine's basic principles, carefully edited to protect its most crucial secrets. This technology wasn't created by following Assembly guidelines. It was created by combining human innovation with universal principles that every species understands differently. Imagine what we could achieve if we stopped restricting civilizations and started learning from each other. The chamber erupted again, but the tone had changed. Representatives who had never dared speak against Assembly policy were finding their voices. Ancient alliances were crumbling as new possibilities emerged. In orbit around Saturn, the Assembly fleet was finally being allowed to restore power, under the watchful eyes of human ships that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. The message was clear. The old order was ending. As Ambassador Chen prepared for another round of diplomatic negotiations, she received a priority message from Earth. Dr. Rodriguez's team had detected something unusual, energy signatures from deep space that matched no known civilization. The galaxy was changing, but humanity's greatest challenges and opportunities were just beginning. New Dawn. 1 year after Operation Checkmate, Earth's orbital shipyards had become a symbol of the galaxy's transformation. Ships from dozens of civilizations docked alongside human vessels, their crews exchanging not just technology but ideas. The massive structure, no longer hidden by quantum shields, represented everything the Assembly had feared, and everything humanity had hoped to achieve. Dr. Maya Patel stood in the shipyard's central control room, watching as a Proximan vessel tested its new hybrid drive system, a combination of their unique gravitational manipulation technology and human quantum principles. Another successful integration, she noted to Ambassador Chen, who was observing via quantum hologram from the newly established Galactic Cooperation Council. The Proximan's understanding of gravity fields perfectly complements our work with quantum mechanics. The Assembly's technological restriction protocols had been officially disbanded 3 months ago, replaced by the Cooperative Development Initiative, a program that encouraged civilizations to share their unique approaches to scientific advancement. In the Mars Research Complex, Dr. Rodriguez worked alongside scientists from 15 different species, each bringing perspectives that would have been unimaginable under the old order. The Prometheus engine had evolved into something far beyond its original design, incorporating principles from civilizations that had developed in entirely different directions than humanity. The Assembly's greatest failure, he explained to a group of visiting diplomats, wasn't in underestimating humanity. It was in failing to understand that true advancement comes from diversity of thought, not adherence to a single path. The engine's core pulsed with new energies. Centaurian quantum harmonics merged with Proximan gravity manipulation, enhanced by biological computing principles from the silicon-based life forms of Tau Ceti. Each civilization contributed something unique, creating technologies that none could have achieved alone. Deep in the Australian outback, the Global Defense Initiative had transformed into the Galactic Defense Cooperation Center. General Mitchell stood before representatives from 40 worlds, discussing the strange energy signatures detected from intergalactic space. "Whatever's out there," she addressed the gathered allies, "it's unlike anything any of our civilizations has encountered. But together, we've already proven we can overcome any challenge." The detection arrays, combining sensor technologies from multiple species, painted a picture of something massive approaching the galaxy. Not a threat, necessarily, but a mystery that would require all their combined knowledge to understand. In orbit around Jupiter, Captain Martinez commanded the first joint species vessel, the GSS Unity. Her crew included members from 8 different civilizations, each bringing their own expertise and perspective to ship operations. Preparing for quantum jump, her Centaurian navigation officer announced, their crystalline form resonating with the ship's hybrid drive systems. The Unity didn't just represent technological advancement. It was proof that cooperation could achieve things competition never could. Its hybrid systems, combining technologies that the Assembly had once declared incompatible, made it the most capable vessel ever constructed. In the Galactic Cooperation Council chamber, Ambassador Chen watched as another formerly restricted civilization presented their unique technological innovations. The Tau Cetians had developed biological quantum computing in ways that even humanity hadn't imagined, opening new possibilities for advancement. "This is what we fought for," she told President Patel via quantum link. "Not just freedom from restriction, but the opportunity to learn from each other." The Assembly had been reformed, its purpose shifted from restriction to facilitation. Many of its former leaders had stepped down, replaced by representatives who understood that growth came from embracing diversity, not enforcing uniformity. High Counselor Extra, one of the few who had adapted to the new reality, addressed the Council. "The energy signatures from intergalactic space grow stronger. We face an unknown that none of our civilizations has encountered before. But thanks to humanity's revolution, we face it together, stronger than we've ever been." Dr. Rodriguez, working with his multi-species team on Mars, smiled as new data from the detection arrays flowed in. The approaching phenomenon defied conventional understanding. Exactly the kind of challenge that could only be solved by combining different perspectives. The assembly thought they were containing a threat, he mused to his colleagues. Instead, they forced us to prove that the greatest advancement comes not from walking the same path, but from forging new ones together. In Earth's orbital shipyards, vessels of designs that would have been impossible a year ago prepared for humanity's greatest adventure yet. The mystery approaching from intergalactic space wasn't a threat to be contained. It was an opportunity to prove that diversity of thought, cooperation between species, and the courage to forge new paths would always triumph over restriction and fear. The stars beckoned, not just to humanity now, but to a united galaxy ready to explore them together. The Assembly's attempt to contain humanity had instead unleashed something far more powerful: hope, innovation, and the understanding that the greatest achievements come not from following established paths, but from daring to create new ones. As the Unity prepared for its next mission, Captain Martinez looked out at the ships of 15 different species flying in formation with her vessel. They were no longer divided into advanced and primitive civilizations. They were explorers and innovators, united in their diversity, stronger for their differences. The containment of Earth had ended. The liberation of the galaxy had begun.